if I could have everybody's attention here in the media center, we are now joined by Ryan Newman, driver of the number 31 Whelen Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. And Ryan is no stranger to the track here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, doing double, really triple duty this weekend with the two modified races and then the New Hampshire 301. What is it about this racetrack that you like so much that
Well, anybody that's been here as long as I have, which I'm not dating myself too much, but I always said that this was my least favorite racetrack. And now after 7 poles and a few wins, it's probably one of my best racetracks. And it's just, I've always said it's the birthplace of track position. You know, we've always really spent a lot of time in qualifying trim here and qualified well. And that, I think, pays dividends for the race itself. So I kind of equate the racetrack to Indianapolis Raceway Park, which was a track that I had a lot of success at back in my open wheel days. And I think just being able to feel the car on top of the racetrack and the tires kind of sliding around and holding the car to that edge is probably what makes me enjoy the racetrack as much as I do.
Good deal. Let's throw it up in the questions. We'll start with Lewis, and we'll work around the room.
Lewis Frank of Reuters. Maybe a simple question, but how did the K&N cars, how differently did they drive? You know,
Whelen Modifieds.
Whelen Modified,
Yeah.
excuse me. Yeah, it's right up there. Can depend upon him. How differently did they drive than the Sprint Cup cars here?
Well, the Whelen Modifieds drive a lot different. Different tires, different power to weight ratio, different center of gravity, a lot less downforce, much more emphasis on mechanical grip than aerodynamics. So they do drive a lot different, but you still have to do the same things at the racetrack. I mean, the walls are in the same spot. You know, you break the corner up into entry, middle, and exit in 3 different locations and attack it accordingly. So they behave quite a bit differently in traffic. The modified will get looser in traffic. The Cup car typically grows on top of the track, and you lose the whole car a little bit more. So it's you have to adapt, but you have to adapt anyway. So you just got to know what to do.
Go to the back to Pat.
Pat DeCola, NASCAR.com. Just want to get your overall reaction to the Dale Jr. news and how you think NASCAR handles concussions in general.
I mean, the news, I think, kind of came as a shock from my standpoint because it was after a weekend that he really only thought he had sinus troubles, right? So, in fact, I was actually texting him back about trying different kinds of honey because that's what my wife uses. So, I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, here I go talking to a guy about trying a different honey, and he's out of the race car the next week. So, you know, I think with his past, I don't have a lot of knowledge to elaborate on, but I think with his past, he's the most experienced driver with respect to concussions and symptoms and things like that. So, I don't know. I haven't talked to him firsthand, you know, personally or via text to you know, see how he's doing. But I think that he had to make a decision for himself and for his family that was probably the right decision. I mean, the racetrack will be here the next time. But he, as far as how NASCAR handles it, I'm not sure. I don't know what exactly the protocol is. I mean, he from what I understand, from what I've read, he took himself out basically saying that, hey, I don't feel well. Let's go see a doctor. He didn't have to go see a doctor. So, I mean, there's always a balance in there, and I don't know when NASCAR steps in and says, hey, you're not, or if they listen to the doctors. I mean, I haven't been in that situation firsthand to know. So I don't know.
We will go to Terrell and then to Mike.
Hi, Ryan. Terrell Covey, Seacoast Media Group. I was just wondering what keeps you coming back and competing in these Whelen races year after year. I know your roots are in open wheel, but is this kind of the fun part of your weekend, or and the Sprint Cup is the work part, or you know, what keeps you coming back?
Well, hopefully it just adds to the fun. You know, the main goal obviously is to win the Cup race, but to come here and have 2 chances to win a Whelen Modified race, and having Whelen on the Cup car this weekend is kind of an added bonus to tie it all together. So, got to thank Whelen for sponsoring us for this race this weekend, and you know, really it's about having fun, adding to hopefully making a good weekend a great weekend.
Go to Mike Embry and then over to Bob and then back to Lewis.
Mike Embry, USA Today. Ryan, on the possibility that Gordon could drive at Indy next week, can he jump back in a race car and be Jeff Gordon after this timeout?
He's probably going to have to. Somebody else, somebody not gonna sell as many T-shirts. I mean, yeah, I don't think the race cars. I mean, if that was the case and if that did happen, then yeah, I wouldn't say it's out of the question. But I mean, I think he's fully capable. If that's what you're asking.
The time he's been out of the car would have little impact on a guy like him.
Yeah, just because you go to the new beach for a couple months doesn't mean you don't know how to put your underwear back on.
Next to Bob.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. You know, Dale Jr. pretty much did take himself out by going to the doctor, and he's pretty much like you, kind of on the bubble for the chase. Does where you sit in points and playoffs and all that stuff factor into a driver's mind when they decide to go see a doctor, knowing that the decision might not be best for them competitively?
I think just in knowing Dale Jr. and some of his past that he knew it was the right thing to do, because I think he's been in that position before and wished that he hadn't done it. I think we all kind of know that you know, he's taken a good look, whether it was at California or Kansas test and things like that, where it's he feels the effects. So I don't know how to say. I don't think it's right to say that he took himself out. I think he made the right decision. I think saying taking yourself out is not a positive move, right? I mean, it sounds negative. He's put himself in a position to make himself healthier, and you know, from a chase standpoint, to answer your question, yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the toughest things to do, to be in the position that both he and I are in, coincidentally, you know, right there within a few points of each other. If I was in that position, it would be very tough for me, I would think, but I don't have the past that he has to know the right move.
How do you feel? I mean, I assume when you're racing, you know who you're racing for on this chase bubble. What will it be like knowing that you don't have to look for him this weekend, but knowing why he's not here?
Doesn't change my perspective or my goal. I'm not looking in the mirror saying where's Dale Jr. at right now. I'm trying to look out the windshield, making sure that I'm winning the race for myself. I mean, it's the selfish side of a race car driver.
Go back to Lewis.
Getting back to Jeff Gordon, forgetting about the talent which he has and only being out of the car a few months, but the decision to retire, it's a very big decision. You know, I mean, can you put yourself in his place? What does it take to get back in the car when you've made a long-term decision not to race anymore? How would that affect you?
If I was Jeff Gordon, I mean, in our position, as we've seen other drivers in the past, when you say the word retire, a lot of us don't mean it. I mean, you look at Mark Martin and, you know, a few others, but you know, it's not an easy answer, because we're still plenty capable. I mean, I've put Mike Skinner in my car when I was on baby duty, and you know, he was still active, but not as active as he had been, and was kind of semi-retired. So I mean, guys can do it. It's not that difficult. And he never had to get in the race car to drive it, but to race it, but he did practice it. And there's several guys out there that are either retired or either way, they're still fully capable. I mean, it's what we do is difficult, but if you've done it before, the cars don't change that much.
Go to your right to Nate.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Ryan, the pit road controversy at Kentucky with Martin Truex Jr. And did you have a chance to review that tape? And do you have any thoughts on how NASCAR ruled?
Yeah, I saw the video, and I'm aware of the judgment call that they made, and I think that all of us will be looking for some kind of answer. When I say all of us, I think all the drivers, all the crew chiefs, all the team owners will be looking for some kind of answer. And I thought that the response was a little bit jaded with respect to we needed to set an example. We know what happens, and the reference that was used, I think, was to the NBA, was rather, I guess, maybe uncalled for, or not exactly our sport. So my perspective is there's a rule, and we either stick to that rule or we don't stick to that rule. We don't just decide to make an example out of somebody on a given lap at a given race. It's just not right. I mean, it's not fair.
If they do move away from selective enforcement and tell you guys this is what we're going to do every time, would that
But
enhance?
that's the understanding that we were under. I
Right.
mean, I have gone to the officials after the drivers' meeting and asked them if it's okay to accelerate to pass somebody going into your pit box, and they assured me that it was.
Oh, really?
And if Martin was not speeding, then there was absolutely nothing wrong from my perspective with what he did. Although I know that in the video and in the rule book it says you're not supposed to stay single file and not pass anybody on pit lane unless it is to the right.
So if they change that and tell you, no, you always have to do it the way it says, and you can't accelerate at all under any circumstances, would that enhance the level of gamesmanship? Do you think in the pits would guys start slowing down to make it look like guys were passing on the left? You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that we're in a position in our sport to slow down to manipulate somebody else. I think that's the 100% rule, and I think that would be more powerful than passing somebody to the left trying to take advantage of a speed line.
Any additional questions for Ryan? Terrell?
Ryan, getting back to the modifieds, what do you think of the level of competition out here? There's, a lot of really excellent drivers in that series, and to go out and compete with them this weekend, what do you think of these guys and the competition in that field?
Yeah, I've always said that it's people think that I come in here and I'm the Cup guy racing in the modified series, and really it's me racing against a bunch of great modified drivers. You got guys like Stefanik and Christopher and Priest and Ronnie Silk and Sekedy and a bunch of other guys that some of them are new, some of them are building their careers, and I don't know them yet, but some of them have been around a long time. And guys like Jamie Tomeno, it's an honor for me to race against Jamie Tomeno. I used to watch him in New Smyrna when I was a kid. It's fun to come out and compete with those guys that are at the top of their game, whether they've been there for 30 years or trying to build a career for themselves.
Rob T. Youngson of the Podium Finish. Ryan, you've had some success here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. You got your first career win here. You won here back in 2005. What exactly do you like about racing at this racetrack? And do you feel like this is your best chance to perhaps win your way into the chase so you don't have to think about points racing into September?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I've done well here in the past, so that's a bonus. But coming off of our best finish of the year last week at Kentucky, definitely adds to that. The mental and physical momentum that it gives you as a team and organization is nice. It's something that we've been looking for the last 4 or 5 months. So it was a good finish that hopefully can, with the addition of the performances that I've had here personally in the past, can, lead us to that position of racing for the win versus racing for points.
Ryan, thanks a lot for joining us today, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Take care.